Hey everybody, I hope you're staying happy and healthy. Another day during quarantine, but it's all going well. So today we are going to continue our virtual tours in Chicago. So if you don't know, there's two different Ferrari dealerships in the Chicago area, Continental Autosports and Ferrari Lake Forest. So today we're going to do Continental Autosports, and then tomorrow I will cover Ferrari Lake Forest. So let's do it. Right, so here we are at Continental Autosports. They are an official Ferrari and Maserati dealer about 20 minutes away from O'Hare and Midway airports, and as we can tell as I zoom out, they're just west of downtown Chicago. So let's jump right into it. All right, so here we are out front of Continental Autosports, official Maserati and Ferrari dealer. As I said before, there are two official Ferrari dealers in the Chicago area, and Continental Autosports is one of them. So here's a nice original generation Audi R8, very collectible. What a great supercar to start out with if you're in the supercar gang. Also, there is a nice original Vantage here, early to mid 2000s Vantage, looking pretty nice considering its age. Several Maserati Gran Turismos out here, a Gran Turismo convertible, and a couple Ferrari Californias, and some more Maserati Gran Turismos, and some more Maserati Gran Turismos, and another Ferrari California. But let's start to make our way into the dealership. But before we do that, I kind of wanted to stop here because this statue is really, really interesting. This is a Bugatti. I don't know exactly the model. It looks like it could be, yeah, I can't really tell from the statue, but you can obviously see the Bugatti symbol there. And it's probably one of their originals from the 1930s is my guess of when this would be from, with the original crank to start the motor up here. So this is a really interesting statue that I don't necessarily know why they have it at a Ferrari dealership, but I really respect it. So let's continue to make our way in here. As we make our way through, let's go to the Maserati side first. So they have a Ghibli there, another Gran Turismo there, a Gran Turismo convertible. Something special is covered up. I'm not entirely sure what that is from the body, but it looks like it could be maybe a special edition Gran Turismo or something like that. We'll continue our way through to the kind of the back area, which is full of all kind of inventory. So it doesn't look like they're going to let us go past here, but that's okay. We'll make do. So here's a Ferrari Dino. You can see a F430 there, another California, 599 GTB, and some more around the back. You probably recognize the 458 Italia. Just a beautiful car, predecessor to the 488 GTB, and then there's a 458 Spider as well. So another 458 against the wall, an F12 Berlinetta, and some more F430s. Can't really tell what else is there. Here's some older Ferraris as well, and that looks like it could be a Daytona convertible, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I wish we could go over there, but it's okay. So we'll move on. I really like this. This little, again, maybe it looks like it could possibly run, but looks like it's just for display, which is, I always love the little touches that, different dealerships add to make their space more interesting and more inviting. So now we'll make our way over to the Ferrari side, where we have California as well. That's an original California. another 458 Spider, and another Dino over here, which is pretty cool. This one's a convertible, so this top kind of can be released or removed, but I really like the yellow. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the black top, to be completely honest with you, but it's pretty cool if you can drive a classic Ferrari convertible. So, as typical with most Ferrari dealerships, they have this space where you can sit down, you have your paint samples and your leather samples, and this is kind of where you can customize your Ferrari. A lot of Ferrari dealers also have a screen where they can show their configurator and you can really customize your car. Here's some seat samples. I really like this seat actually, the black with the red stitching and the design. It's a little more slim and race suitable. We got some steering wheels as well as some brake calipers and some wheels. So pretty cool. And then as we move on, we're going to head to the back to finish up. This is always my favorite part because the back's usually full of fun surprises. And this being the Chicago area, where there's actually a very strong car collector market, we could find some pretty interesting stuff back here. So let's do it. So as we move on, oh yes, this is going to be fun. We'll go over here first. So, well actually I blew past the Dino in the front. So this looks very similar to the Dino that we saw out front in the display room. But as you can tell, it's the coupe version, so the roof is no longer removable. I think from an aesthetic standpoint, this looks a lot better, just the full streamlined same color, but there is appeal to having a convertible classic Ferrari. Then as we move on, this is a very, very special car right here. So this looks to me to be a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. So you probably have heard of the Mercedes gull-wing doors before. They're quite famous because of the way they open up. And that was a car that by most people was considered the first supercar ever. It came out in the 1950s. It was kind of, the first big movement in supercar production since the end of World War II. So it was really famous because now we can tell it's special by the way that the doors open up. It's very unique. But at the time, it was very famous because of the space frame chassis that it used. Basically, it arranged metal poles in a triangular pattern, which really helped with the support of the chassis and making it lighter. So I'm not an expert in that, but I know from a basic level that that's kind of what made this car famous. So then obviously this is the Roadster version. So it doesn't, it's a convertible, but unfortunately that means it doesn't have the really cool gull wing doors. But this is a very special car, probably worth $1 million, especially if it's in great condition. So that's a very special spot. An older Maserati, a newer Maserati Ghibli, and some more Ferraris. But we'll make our way over here. Another older Maserati, California. But the highlight of our spot today is this beautiful car right here. This is a Ferrari 275 GTB. So this is one of the most sought after collector Ferraris. I don't remember how many were made, but you can expect to pay around $2 million for this car, especially if it's the better condition, the more expensive it's going to be. So you can see, if you've watched my last videos or are just familiar with the F12 TDF, it has these sort of three gills behind where the driver sits. So they actually took the inspiration for that from this car. So you can see it's very cool here. If you're not familiar with David Lee, he's a very well-known and well-respected Ferrari collector, and he actually has a 275 GTB, and he bought an F12 Berlinetta and made the specs identical, and that's so cool to see those cars together. So make sure to check him out if you haven't already. But this is a very, very, very special car. So as we move on, we have this looks like a Ferrari Daytona. I think 365 GTB Daytona. I don't remember all the exact names, unfortunately. That's something I still want to learn and develop. And then we have a Testarossa. So a lot of times you'll either see a Testarossa with one mirror or two mirrors. This one has one mirror. Then this looks like probably a 430 Challenge car. So this it follows the likes of the 458 Challenge and the 488 Challenge, which they're super stripped out race car style cars. So let's see, another 458 Spider, one of my favorite cars. I remember this car coming out, and this is what really captivated me into liking Ferrari. I really don't know what this car is, to be honest with you. It's old, as we can all tell. It's a Ferrari, but I can't really explain much beyond that, unfortunately. It looks like a 250 Gran Turismo is written on the back, but if you guys know what it is, I'd love to learn more about it, and I'll do some research myself. So the last thing is actually out the back here. We can see another 458. That looks like an FF, a F430. That could be a 308 or a 328. I can't tell from here. Another, that looks like a Quattroporte Maserati. But this right here, this is an Aston Martin DB6. So obviously the Aston Martin DB5 is the James Bond car, and it's a very, very sought after collector's Aston Martin. So the DB6 is what came after that. The DB4, the DB5, and the DB6 are all pretty difficult from a non-aficionado's eyes to tell apart. I had to do some research on my own to be able to accurately tell you what this is. And from my research, I believe that this is an Aston Martin DB6. With the DB5, this kind of metal piece right here goes all the way across, but with the DB6, it's split. So that was kind of the obvious factor that I was able to tell. So hopefully I'm right. The side profiles and stuff are a little different too, but from this angle, it's very difficult to tell. So that was sort of one way for me to make my best guess about what this car actually is. But this is super special. It looks absolutely amazing. Silver is what it appears to be, which is, a classic Aston Martin color. And yeah, so we saw some pretty awesome classic cars today between that, the Aston Martin, and the Dinos, and then the highlight of the 275 GTB. Alright, so before we end this video, I just wanted to quickly go over some of the inventory that Continental Autosports has. As you can see, they don't just have Ferraris and Maseratis, they have quite a collection of some other brands too. Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche. So they got some really cool stuff. Unlike a lot of dealerships, they actually have quite a good selection of classic Ferraris. Not all dealerships necessarily have as extensive as they do, so that's pretty cool to see. I really like the blue on this Alfa Romeo, a nice Testarossa, Rolls-Royce, previous generation GT3 RS, some more Mercedes, and of course tons of Ferraris, more Ferraris, and more Ferraris. I really like this 488 GTB, the black on the black. That looks stunning. Portofino. But what I really wanted to show you was down here. Keep scrolling. Oh, they got a 430 Scuderia 16M, it looks like. Some more classic Ferraris. A 458 Speciale. That's really cool. 812 Superfast. I love this car. But here's where we go. So they actually had their page sorted from price lowest to highest. So they have this beautiful 488 Pista. I love the red with the black. Not necessarily a fan of the silver stripe, but that's all right. Here they have a 365 GTB Daytona. We also saw one of these in the back of the tour, so that was pretty cool. Another classic Ferrari 250 PF, it looks like. I'm not super familiar with that. I mean, look at the prices of these cars. 50-some thousand miles and it's $675,000. 63,000 miles and it's $775,000. So these are some very special classic Ferraris. But as a lot of you may be familiar with, they also have a Porsche Carrera GT. By many enthusiasts, this is one of the best driver's cars of all time. It's a convertible. It's got a V10 engine, manual. And this one only has 338 miles, which is incredibly low. So it's most likely that this spent its life just sitting in a collection and barely got driven. So while it's sad to see, it's also cool to see a very low mileage special car. This is one of the more higher priced Carrera GTs that I've seen. Most of them right now are between $700,000 and $800,000, but because this is so low mileage, that's probably why it's a little more expensive. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tour. As I said earlier, there's another Ferrari dealership in the Chicago area, Ferrari Lake Forest, so I plan on touring their facility tomorrow. It is absolutely amazing, so make sure to stay tuned for that. It would really mean a lot to me if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe. I would really like to understand sort of if you're enjoying this, if you're learning, and what I can do to make it better for you. So it would mean a lot to me if you can do that. Until next time, please stay happy and healthy, and I can't wait to see what's coming next.